and then all of a sudden I'll just hear.
Ooh, I like that share.
It's funny. Hi, Jesse. Hi, everybody. All right, we're gonna start our podcast.
That.
Welcome to the ganjayoga.la podcast, where our purpose is to spread valuable information and wisdom around conscious cannabis use recreationally, medicinally, and spiritually.
And to create meaningful experiences.
So that we have a healthy connection with ourselves and our environments.
And with that, create a shift in perspective into universal consciousness and love.
This podcast is intended for an audience of 21 and up and for entertainment purposes only. Please contact your healthcare provider before pursuing any of the topics discussed.
What up, ganja yogis and yoginis? My name is Marisa Anita Reyes Aldana.
Tia Marie Brown.
And Rosalina Lourdes Rosales.
And we are so ready to love and light it up.
We're so excited to jump into today's conversation, and in our closet studios, we have a special guest today. And yes, he is our brother, Tia's fiance.
Huh?
Our friend, my producer, and his name is Jesus Jesse Alba Aldana.
Aldana-Alba.
Aldana-Alba. And he was the man of honor last night for our Ganja Yoga LA Wednesday night experience, because I'm so excited that he's raising up funds to do the men's weekend, which is this incredible, powerful, transformational weekend. I did the women's weekend back in 2016. Mikhail, my husband, did it back also in 2016, and it was transformational. So it was so cool to be able to support the cause for you to go next weekend already, huh?
Mm-hmm. It's fast approaching.
So he came and shared some songs and some stories. And it's cool because last week we were actually talking about how there's a medicine man who brings peyote songs into working with his cannabis ceremonies. And it was so cool because that's kind of pretty much what you did last night.
It's all medicine.
Yeah. And it's great because one of the first songs that you started off with is the Spider Song, which you can find on Bandcamp under Alba Aldana.
One time in band camp, Jesse released a ritual.
And it's called Ritual, which is so perfectly aligned with Ganja Yoga Wednesday Night Ritual. So I thought maybe we could start with a story around the Spider Song.
The Spider Song. The story is that spiders can build webs, so they're in a position to help you untangle them. And they're tricksters. They have 8 legs and they walk funny. So, I feel like I'm in the hot seat.
You are in the hot seat.
Yeah, that's the basics around it. It's a trickster song that's sung during sundances, during the third day. A lot of times during the third day of the Sundance. It's a very upbeat song. It's very fast. It's like rock and roll, and I like it. I'll sing it.
Yay.
I'm gonna sing it with a rattle. But usually it's played on a drum. Just the rap. Hikumi oyate wawani yangu elohe Chiyo tanka hoyata iya he wani elohe Kola wama yanka oya dewa wani angu Elohe Chio tanka hoya taiya e wani Elohe Tola wana yanka yo Hikome oya dewa wani angu Elohe Chio tanka hoya taiya e wani Elohe Kola wana yanka yo Hikome oya dewa wani angu Elohe Chio tanka hoya taiya e wani Elohe Kola wana yanka yo Hikome oya dewa wani angu Elohe Chio tanka hoya taiya e wani Elohe Kola wana yanka yo Hikome oya dewa wani angu Elohe Chio tanka hoya taiya e wani Elohe Kola wana yanka yo Hikome oya dewa wani angu Elohe Chio tanka hoya taiya e wani Elohe Kola wana yanka yo Hikome oya dewa wani angu Elohe Chio tanka hoya taiya e wani Elohe
Wow. So great.
Thank you.
I had this image of, like I just said, when I was closing my eyes, I saw the spider like weaving its web and then unweaving it, and I was just busy at work.
Wow.
It was cool. And we've picked spider card before, haven't we?
Yeah. It's Wave Your Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wave Your Dreams.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a nice reminder with the song, right? We have the power to create our reality, and we also have the power to undo it. It's pretty much, it seems like the message, right? We can unweave the web.
Yeah, sometimes we put ourselves into positions that we don't want to be in, and we complain about it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're the ones who put ourselves in there, and all we have to do is undo that. And we don't for whatever reason. We start projecting, and we start telling other people that it's their responsibility to either undo it for us or to accept us just the way we are. And I was thinking about that actually. You were talking about the stages of relationships and how at one point you get to the point where you just accept the other person for who they are. But the deeper point in that is that there's a relationship that we have with ourselves, and if we don't accept ourselves the way we are, a lot of times we interfere with our own process. And I guess there's, I don't know how to say it, there's in the relationship that we have with ourselves, sometimes we think we are something we're not, and then we lean into that, and then we become something we're not. And we have to do away with that. And that's why I like the spider song. But it's funny, if I could say a word on Ritual itself, the album that I made, the EP. When I was learning a lot of these songs, I kept on hearing over and over again that it was really important to be careful with who I shared the songs, and not to use them for any type of personal gain, things like that. And I actually created the EP because I was giving a talk at one of the Ganja Yogas. I was giving a talk about ritual itself, and I did that because of how you lead ganjayoga.la. So I approached it really carefully, and I did my best to honor the songs, but I really wanted to illustrate how songs are something like a key. Sacred songs are like a key that open up doors to get you moving within your life in a positive way.
It's actually mentioned in chapter 8, my chapter, about how the magic of Icaros and the songs that they sing to the plants and medicine, because it opens that door. That's interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Chapter what?
Chapter 8
Of which book?
of the book you're supposed to be reading.
Which is Cannabis and Spirituality, which is edited by Stephen Gray. The subtitle, An Explorer's Guide to an Ancient Plant Spirit Ally. So this is the book that we've been reading for the last few weeks. This was one of the required readings in my D. Dussault Ganja Yoga teacher training. And it's cool because actually, and we'll kind of just we'll weave in the spider medicine by weaving in parts of this book throughout our conversation. But chapter 7, it's called For the Love of the Leaf, and this part was actually written by D. Dussault. So it's really awesome because Dee, she's from Canada, and she was one of the first people who started talking about working with cannabis and yoga very openly. Now, and she also mentions, like, this is a practice that's ancient, but she was the one who kind of just, like, brought it out into the public. And it's cool because she also started in her living room. And she said, I think she said no one showed up to her very first class. No. It was great. She's like, this is a great idea. I don't know why more people aren't doing this. And now, now she's training people to do it, which is pretty cool. And, we mentioned a lot about other plant medicines. And, Tia, you just mentioned about the Icaros, which are the songs that, the people who work with ayahuasca sing. And then I was talking to Mikhail last night, and I told him, Dee shares a story in here that ties in perfectly to an experience that he had working with another medicine that takes you very, very, very deep. This is the medicine of the toad. And he and I had opposite experiences with it. For him, it was a love-making session with the universe and our memory foam. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is such a vulnerable state to be in. We had 2 incredible facilitators, and I was just witnessing, and I'm like, oh, gosh, I'm supposed to go next. I'm so curious what this is going to be like. I went next, and it was the complete opposite. It was like I felt all of the pain from all of the women on my mom's side, like from like the abuse, the rape, the just felt all the feels. So it's a reminder, because that was something Aunt Giselle was talking about last week, is that how when you work with all these different plant medicines and then you bring cannabis into the mix, how it ignites these experiences.
Amplifies them.
So there's a really hilarious way, because I've had multiple people say that they've had like body orgasms.
Yeah.
And anyone in this room experienced a body orgasm before in Ganja Yoga?
I have, but with Ganja, with cannabis. I remember sharing that in the circle. I remember,
Wow.
Yeah. It was beautiful. I mean,
Do you want to say more about it?
You want to talk about it more?
Yeah, of course. So a lot of the times when I'm in, just really tuning into the movement and the breath work, I feel like, I'm really just, in a way, I'm there, but I feel like my spirit is just literally just flowing in space, right? So that's how I felt that one time, where it was just my whole entire body just experiencing this flow of energy, right? And I know that a lot of the times when I'm really just in that element of dance and flow and just feeling completely free, really, I feel like that's the feeling, that the space that I'm in, complete freedom, right? And yeah, I remember it just being so uplifting and nothing like I've ever experienced before. And I remember sharing that. I'm like, holy crap, like this is what it feels like to be, in a human body, right? And feeling everything from like your toes all the way to the head, and feeling every feature of your body, your hair, your hands, your fingers, your toes, and appreciating each and every single part, really, and knowing that it's part of the whole, and just, honoring and appreciating yourself completely as you are. So, that's
Wow. That's beautiful.
Came up.
Thank you for sharing that.
I had an experience outside of Ganja Yoga. This was years ago when I started, when I first started experimenting. I literally thought myself into an orgasm. And I was like, whoa, that was different. And I literally sat there, like, just breathing and feeling this intense energy. And this thing came up where I was like, I wonder if I could think myself into an orgasm. And then I really, like, concentrated, and at one point it felt like my whole body exploded. It wasn't a physical orgasm. It wasn't like, it was just like this explosion, and all the energy went through my body, and I was like, that was the only time I did that, though.
Wow.
I think that's what they call ecstasy in like Catholicism and stuff like that.
That makes sense.
I haven't had anything like that in Ganja Yoga, but I had something like that just underneath a full moon. I was going through a lot of stuff in my life, and I remember I used to have a bed with a window at the head of it, and the full moon would pass right over, and I could always see it while I was looking up, and there was a greenhouse there, so the moon, it had like, there was the moon, and then you could see other moons around it. It looked like a piece of art, and I remember it came into focus, and then it hit one of those ridges that made it look like there was like 5 moons.
Wow.
And then I had that experience, like an ecstatic experience there, and it was really interesting. I used to think of it as a dry orgasm, and then I remembered that a bunch of saints would have experiences like that, and it was like they were dying, but it was the biggest pleasure of their lives, and it was union with God.
Yeah. That the term that they use for that, or that she's uses in here, and there was a song that came up once, and I think you even said it, is that like cosmic love.
Cosmic love.
It's cosmic love. There's a Florence and the Machine song too, right?
Yeah, it's aligned so perfectly. I remember. Yes.
Last night, I had a similar, it wasn't an ecstatic, I just felt, you know how in Kundalini Yoga you sit and you want to imagine the snake going up the spiral? You were leading us through that, and I felt the spiral, and I felt this heat up, and I felt this heat up.
When you say this, you mean your third eye.
My third eye,
your crown
I'm sorry.
chakra.
Yes, and oh yeah, I forgot, a lot of people aren't visual. But I felt my third eye heat up, and I felt the energy moving from the base of my spine all the way up to my crown chakra, and I just felt this amazing whirlwind of energy, and it felt like the world around me was revolving, and it just kept going and building, and I was like, usually I would have stopped it because I would have gotten like either too scared or like, no, this isn't the space for that. But last night I just kind of let it go through and just experience it. And it was just like this pulsing energy, and it just kept going around and around. And I was like, I wonder what the height of this is. And it kept getting faster and faster and faster. And this just kept, my third eye just kept glowing and I don't know the word for it, just kept
pulsating.
Yes.
Wow.
It just kept going, and then all these downloads come in, which I don't remember. I wrote down one thing, but everything else was just so pretty. I just experienced it and was like, it's gonna be in me, and I'll always carry it. And it was just a lovely experience. Like, it was beautiful, and the ceremony we had the night before, all of that combined. I was telling Jesse on the way there that all the plants and trees I could hear talking. It was like, it was a whole different area. I mean, I was like, look, the trees are waving at us. Look at this. And there was no medicine, no plant medicine the night before. But I felt super charged.
Yeah.
Super charged.
When you were sharing, I thought of the word surrender. You just surrendered to that moment. And that's beautiful. And that's when, these downloads and this, magic happens.
Right.
And yeah, so it's powerful.
It's powerful. So.
And the ceremony that Tia Marie is referring to is a blood ceremony that we did the night before.
Yeah.
Which I had a moment of, is this something that I share, openly? And I realized, yes, because the whole prophecy is when women give their blood back to the earth, then that's when war will no longer take place. So in order for that to happen, we got to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. When we go back, we're going to go visit my new nephew in April. I'm setting up a blood ceremony and getting women interested and men interested. I'm trying to create that so that they can keep going once I leave and come back home, because it's my home. But I want to bring that over there because the energy is completely different over there than it is over here. And that's why I moved from there. And I want people to know the deep richness of being able to connect with our ancestors again, and just being able to really get into it, because it's transformational. It's completely transformational.
Yeah. I know that people will be, may not always be ready for it.
That's true.
I wasn't ready for it my first year of going to the moon dance.
Yeah.
And then, because we do a blood ceremony there, and then my second year, I was a little bit more open to it now. And now we're doing it at home, So it's going to be different timing for everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not expecting anybody to show up, even if it's just me and Jessie there, because Jessie's going to be...
I was there at the first.
That's true. You were there at the first one. So even if it's just that, having the space for holding that is going to be amazing. It's going to be beautiful.
The art surrounding that, I think, is going to help. Like, I have a friend, her name is Miriam Negre, and she's from Spain. And she's what do you call it? She's a potter. So she makes all these beautiful containers to catch your blood. And she's a performance artist, too. And one of the things that she does is she bleeds out. So she'll dress very elegantly and then record herself going out into nature and leaving a trail. And that's how she gives it back. She's been doing that for a really long time. I told a lot of you, actually, before, because her art is so striking, and I see that her as an artist is getting a lot of attention to that type of ceremony. And she was recently part of a group show. I think it was called El Parto es Arte, which means birth is an art. And in it was all art around around all of the birthing process through everything. Gets a lot of attention in a way that's easily digestible, and then people start to think, what is the deeper meaning of these things? So.
Yeah, it's like you really open that to like curiosity, right? Like just curious to question, well, what is that, or
Well, we all like beautiful things, so when an artist does something, we can appreciate the beauty first and then think about it. Whereas when somebody, like a philosopher or somebody, tells you what's going on, sometimes you can't reach it intellectually first, and then that might create some distance.
And if you're listening and thinking, what's the connection between like blood ceremonies and cannabis? If you look at the science of Ayurveda, this ancient Indian science of life, there are Ayurvedic practitioners who talk about how cannabis can really help with the menstrual cycle, like for women who are dealing with menstrual pains. Cannabis helps in assisting and just like relaxing the body. So it's a really beautiful practice of combining the two, because that's something that I am super passionate about, is empoweringmenstrualhealth.com. And so it's a beautiful tie-in to like bring in the blood ceremony, and part of my one-on-one ceremonies is for the women doing the yoni steam, the vaginal steaming, and it's just been so. I want to have my mom as a guest. And I'd love to have her share her experience with combining cannabis and yoni steaming.
It would be so wonderful to have Mama Yolanda in here. And we treat her to a nice breakfast after. Yes! Make a day out of it.
I agree.
Yes.
Mamas.
And something that I'll add about this last night's Ganja Yoga Wednesday ritual is, Rosalina, you were mentioning before when you had that energy, that body orgasm, how you were just able to fill into all parts of your body.
Yeah.
Last night we did a full 30 minutes of Yoga Nidra, which is known as the yoga of sleep. And it's absolutely incredible because it's really just the practice of listening and just awareness. So that is something that I used to combine Kundalini and Yoga Nidra. And I was like, it's been a while since I've brought Yoga Nidra into this space. So it was great.
It was amazing. You went through each individual toe. Yeah. And then you went up to, like, it just, if you are already in that state where your body is intensely activated with, you know, the other, what they call in chapter 8, the other human spirits of the plant, is that it goes through your body, and when you're aware of each individual body part, it makes it so much more, ooh, this is my body. And every time you said the body parts, they would glow. Like, my eyes were closed, and then I'd feel them glow, and I'd see them glow in my mind's eye, and it'd be like, your left hand, pinky finger, the other finger, this finger, and I was like, ooh, and up the arms and the shoulders, and then it was just like, ooh, this feels so good.
Body scanning.
Body scanning. It's powerful.
I love the way Jesse described his experience last night.
Wait, how did you
describe it?
I described it as I felt like a cat that was being pet by the universe. I just, it was like, it was yummy, and it was cool. The rotation of consciousness is definitely one of my favorite things. And you did that on the first Ganja Yoga that I attended, and it was a real eye opener. Like, it was a body opener, right? Because I had an accident when I was 8 that messed with my body's balance, because I had an accident on my right arm where my elbow was crushed, and from that point on, it's been kind of a struggle just to maintain my posture and things like that. I was also born with a birth defect on my foot, which is really interesting because it makes me step in a different way. So the first time that I experienced the rotation of consciousness, it really helped me understand, like, what's going on with my body. And since then, it's been nonstop. Just every day's better. It's good healing, just to bring consciousness into all these parts. Like I have a little toe on my foot that's smaller than the rest, and when you named that one, I could feel it. I hadn't felt it in years. I hadn't felt it since I was 5.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It's cool. I have a Yoga Nidra that I recorded with a sound healer, Susan Murray, and you can find it on YouTube under our Purple Lotus Massage and Wellness channel. But it's called, like, Sleep Better, because it definitely helps me sleep better. Because I mentioned last night 30 minutes of Yoga Nidra is equivalent to like 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to start using that after sadhana so I can not be tired and just really, that would be an awesome practice to add into sadhana.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So it's like, thanks for coming this early. We're going to give you 4 more hours, 30 minutes.
And there's even like 20-minute recordings out there that you can listen to on YouTube that are just so yummy.
Nice.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
If you do Yoga Nidra for half an hour every 12 hours, does that mean you could just skip sleep? Because I could use some extra time to work.
I guess you're going to have to experiment yourself, right?
Right on.
Let us know how it works
out.
Okay. Everything will be done always.
He's probably actually going to do it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, knowing Jesse, I really want to know.
You know, going back to our theme for last night, it was honoring Shiva, because the week before it was empowering menstrual health was the theme, and I thought, let's balance out the feminine with the masculine. And so Shiva, which I learned from Ganja Yoga teacher training, he was the lord. He's the lord of yoga, and he also happens to be the lord of cannabis. So, and we've talked about, we've even sung our mantra, our opening mantra of Om Namah Shivaya, Om Shakti Mam. And so, where was I going with that?
You were speaking about the Shiva energy.
Shiva. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. This is why we're a team. So it reminded me of another song that Jesse shared last night called My Strength. Because when I think of Shiva, you know, this Hindu deity who's about, you know, holding space and being fully present, and I think of that like it requires this like discipline and this strength. So I felt like that song was quite suiting for last night, and I thought we could have another little song break with My Strength.
Cool.
Yeah.
Uzi Bezimratya Vaya Hili Vishua Uzi Bezimratya Vaya Hili Vishua Uzi Zimratya Vaya Hili Vishua Ozi Zimratya Vaya Hili Vishua Ozi Zimratya Vaya Hili Vishua Ozi Vizimratya Vaya Hili Vishua Ozi Zimratya Vaya Hili Vishua Ozi Vizimratya Vaya Hili Vishua Ozi Vizimratya Vaya Hili Vishua Ozi Vizimratya Vaya Hili Vishua Ozi Zimratya Vaya Hili Vishua Ozi Vizimratya Vaya Hili Vishua Ozi Vizimratya Vaya Hili Vishua Ozi Vizimratya Vaya Hili Vishua Ozi Zimratya Vaya Hili Vishua Ozi Zimratya Vaya Hili Vishua.
All right, Josie, I'm telling you right now, I'm dancing to your music too.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, opening
cool.
them doors.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yes.
It's actually about language. It's the songs that I put out on Ritual. There's two in Lakota, and there's one in English. No, there's one in Spanish. Pardon. And there's one in Hebrew. The thing is, I'm an English speaker. I'm an English as a second language kid, and my first language is Spanish. When I was learning all these songs, I thought a lot about the fact that they're not in my language, and I talked to a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, who told me, who's one of my teachers. He told me that it's important to sing your songs in your language, but it's also really good to learn other people's songs.
Mm-hmm.
And when you speak, you use your language to communicate. It's the same thing with the sacred songs. So sing your songs, use your language. It's always the best. But these songs, they are keys too, which is why I sing them. And it's not my language, so sometimes I mess up a little bit, and I get things wrong. I get the translations wrong, but I don't view that as a serious problem. The thing is, you can have a deep understanding of the songs, whether or not they're in your language, because of their nature, because of their spiritual nature. But it is important to use your own language.
I have an interesting experience with that. I love singing in other languages. Like, I feel like it's speaking a secret language. I took Spanish throughout middle school, high school, and I went to college for Spanish language. And I graduated from it with a bachelor's degree. And Spanish has always, like, it's not in my family at all, like, even the culture, but I have always had this connection to the words and the feelings it produces. And so when I sing in Spanish and other languages, it feels like home to me. Like, I sing in English a lot, but for me, the deeper connection is through singing it in another language, where I guess the meaning of the words transcends what actual words are saying for me. And that's what I enjoy most about languages in general. Like, I love language, and it's beautiful when you can connect to a language without even knowing the language. I had an experience once. I was enjoying cannabis, and I was on I was on my way to Washington, D.C. I was on the East Coast at this time, and I was with some friends who were speaking Arabic in the car. And I don't know a word of Arabic. One of my girlfriends was teaching me. She taught me a few words, but they were speaking, and in my gut, I said, "Oh, it would be so lovely if I could just understand it." Like, that's what I was thinking, and staring off into the trees in the distance. Then all of a sudden, they started speaking, and to me, they were speaking English. Like, I could understand them clearly and everything that they were saying. So I responded, and they all looked at me like I was crazy, and I was like, "What?" And then one of my girlfriends who doesn't speak Arabic looked at me too, and she was like, "They were speaking Arabic." I was like, "No, they weren't." And she was like, "They were. How did you know what they were saying?" I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So they started speaking again, and I could understand them perfectly. Wow. And it was in Arabic, and I could, like, I'm trying to find a way to use, like, this has been my lifelong mission ever since that day, is to use cannabis as a way to go above and beyond the language barrier that we all believe we have. Because I truly believe it's not about what you hear, it's about what you feel. Because it was from the gut that I could understand them. It was just like this, if I could imagine a yellow light coming out to understand what they were saying, that's what it was. It wasn't the words I was hearing, it was just the knowledge of what they were saying right in my belly. So it was very interesting, and I want to do this, like, research study. I've been doing it since college, trying to figure out how to link language and more just speaking confidently and understanding confidently, and yeah.
I've had that experience before.
You said that. You've told us. You have to share it again.
Mikhail and I ate an edible. This is when we first met. We were traveling through Southeast Asia. We were in Cambodia. And, you know, he turns into a stone when he eats. And so he couldn't do the hike up. We were at Angkor Wat, where the temples are. And I was like, dude, we just got here. And he's like, I can't move. So he had to wait at the bottom. I was like, well, are you cool if I go to the top? Because I did travel all the way to Southeast Asia to experience this. And he's like, yeah. So I was like, all right, but don't move. And he took that literally. So he was like, shit, I can't even breathe? Because his chest would rise. And so anyways, I'm going up this mountainside, and I hear there are people from China. I don't know if they were speaking Mandarin, but I understood everything that they were saying. And it was just the way you're describing. Like, it was coming from this deep knowing from, like, the gut and the heart. And
Right. Wow.
it was in combination of looking into the mountainside and, like, seeing Buddha's face in the mountain.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, my goodness.
Intuitive knowing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then touching on what you shared, Jesse, it reminded me of the Cannery Spirit. I believe the message is sing your own song. So thank you for that reminder. Yes. So thank you. And also, like, speaking of like the spiritual nature of like songs and music, like I feel like that's what happens when I dance. Like my spirit connects and aligns with the spiritual nature of the song, and therefore I'm able to just flow even more freely. Because I transcend, and it's that connection, that deep connection with spirit through the music and movement and breath. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, music is magic. Like,
it is.
Like, I don't know if this is true, but I read in the liner notes of a reissue of John Coltrane, I read that there was actually a church started based on somebody having a religious experience listening to one of his pieces of music. And they started a church where they would get together and listen to John Coltrane music to induce a religious trance, like a spiritual trance. And so, I mean, sing songs in your language that doesn't even have any words. It's just
Sound.
It's just sound. It's just organized sound. It's beautiful.
Well, thanks for reminding us, Rosalina, about, spirit animals, because last night we had the 4 Shivas present pick a card for each of the directions.
Can we know the messages?
Yeah, so the first card that we picked for the East was the beaver. And it's cool because beaver, we realize, has very like Shiva energy, because beaver is like hard worker. And did you write down the other ones? I hope. That's okay. I remember. Okay. And then what was picked next was the eagle.
The beaver was build your own foundation. Is it something about foundation?
And then the eagle, and then the white raven, which is trust in the magic. And my intention for the opening circle last night was, my word was trust. Just trust. I've been feeling a lot of just stress and anxiety in my mind and my body for the last few weeks, just moving forward with this big project. And it was just the perfect message, like, trust. And I'm like, all right. And then the last one we picked was koala spirit.
Spirit has a plan.
Yeah,
I know that one.
I wrote down, Rosie was here with us tonight.
Yeah, I was.
Her spirit showed up through the animal spirit card. Jesse picked koala. Spirit has a plan. Yes.
He brought you in.
So true.
We're connected.
Oh, I had so many freaking downloads last night about that, and then the things we were talking about at the Cannabis Cafe about the power of the 4, and then bringing in the change, and there were so many revelations about it, and even how we were sitting, and then how we moved into the 4 directions. We encompassed the men last night, not intentionally, because I was on the end, and then Vanessa, we had a new person last night. Vanessa, she came, and then you were at the top, and it was like we formed a triangle, and the men, there were 4 men right in there. And then, so in my book, I drew that we moved from the wound, because they're encompassed by the women, into moving to a compass where they represented all the directions. And it was just so, like, the way, it was just like, the energy was still spinning in me, and so that energy was still spinning, and I was like, whoa, this is like the coolest thing ever. I don't know what it means exactly yet, but it's something that keeps happening about how we get the 4 and the directions, and then I had that dream the other night about the directions where I was literally asleep, and I heard Jesse say, get a candle for each direction, and you need to light it. And so I got out of my bed and I started getting the candle, and I looked, and Jesse's knocked out. I'm like, oops, I guess that wasn't Jesse.
also related to sacred geometry, though.
Sacred geometry,
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. So the men picked the 4 directions, and that leaves the other 3 directions for the women, which are above and below
Above
and
and
center,
below.
like
Right.
inward. That was cool.
I didn't
Wow.
even think about that.
It was
That
a sacred
perfect.
7, right? 7?
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
had
there was 7.
people.
There was 7
Yeah.
people for the 7 directions. We've only picked 4 cards, but there was 3 women.
7, 4.
It felt really well balanced. Did you decide on the theme before you knew who was going?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's
Like
aligned.
it's one of the smallest groups that we've had,
Mm-hmm.
and it was more men than women, which is I think a first.
I
It's
think
true.
so.
Yeah.
It's true.
Like even if it's like a small group, it was always like there was 1 or 2 women more than men, and this time it was 4 men, 3 women.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of naturally fell into that.
Yeah.
The Shivas were out.
Planted them seeds.
Yeah, right?
And
You know, it feels like it's one of the consequences of conscious cannabis use is that when you're not sitting with the medicine, you start to look at life differently, and so things seem more magical.
Mm.
And well, there's no end on there. Yeah, conscious cannabis use actually helps with living an unexamined life.
Mm.
But
Ho!
oh,
This is a men's team thing that they do when they agree with something. They go, ho!
I always feel like it's like, that's the Shakti balance.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I want to take a moment to give a shout out to the Cannabis Cafe because we had so much fun there.
wow.
We sang
Speaking of
songs.
which, yeah, I mean, we just have to share this because it did come up that day. So we were able to, right? We were thinking about, what was it? We were thinking about a logo, right? We were thinking about discussing what a logo would look like. And we were also thinking about, how can we, coin a term, right, for this logo. So we were thinking about ganja, right, and then we were thinking about warrior, but then we're like, we want to put it in a, use it in Spanish language. So we thought guerreras, right, which is warrior in Spanish. So we combined ganja and guerreras, and we coined the term
Guerreras! Oh wait, no, wait, sorry. Ganjayoga!
It's all right. It's a new term, so our mind is barely processing it.
I heard Ganjaras come out.
I said guerreras. Well, because at the moon dance, when we're dancing 4 nights, not sleeping, what we're shouting out to help lift our energy and support each other is guerreras. So we thought, how cool would it be to coin ganjeras?
Ganjeras, yeah.
that's like that movie Tu Mamá También. They call each other charolastra because they're space cowboys. So charros astrales, charolastras, and that's like their friends. Yeah.
Charolastas.
Yeah.
I like how that sounds.
Funny.
You're my ganjeras.
I love that movie.
Does anybody else, and since we brought up moon dance a little bit, does anybody else feel that energy continuously now? Like, you're just walking and it just feels like, how we're starting the walk, and then before they cut the trees, we were running into the trees, and when we were going in the circle, when we started the geometric shapes, and the feeling of that, and shaking the rattles, and having the women walk and sing, and just be there with it, it felt so magical. And every few moments during the day, I get flashbacks of moon dance, and being in the tent by myself, like during our daytime, and I just get flashbacks of those moments where I had silence, and then I was weeping, and then I'd get out the tent and go out and just walk around and see what everybody's doing, and just be with myself, and then go back to the temazcal, and then back to the moon dance, and then seeing Jesse doing magical work as a fire eagle, and seeing Mikael walking around with, and everybody there, and all of our sisters, and I was just like, this feels like home, and this energy is continuous now that we have the Ganja Yoga ritual, now that we have all these other ceremonies that we're introducing, Sing for the Earth, and everything is just like, you know, they said take this home with you after the moon dance. Take this home with you and spread it and share it. And I think that's exactly what we're doing, because it's such a powerful, I feel so like connected to the earth, and like I said this already, but it's profound how yesterday on the way to Ganja Yoga, the trees were literally speaking to me. I heard it, I felt it, and I was just like, I told Jesse, I said, look at the trees. It was just so so yummy, so beautiful, so sacred, and it's a relationship I've always had with plants, but was never able to express it. And now being in this open community and this open tribe to be able to explore it, it's just like, yummy, yummy. Ooh, yummy.
Yes, like that daily moon dance medicine,
Yes.
right? And like I was sharing with you the other time, right, that it's like ultimately you're living in ceremony every day, right? You bring that into your awareness, ceremonial living, intentional living, and it makes all the difference, right?
It does.
For me, it has.
Yeah, it slows life down a little bit, because you know how when we're older, when we're kids, life is like, ooh, it's really slow. We can't wait till summer to get out of school, and then summer goes by really quickly, and we're like, ah, crap, we're back in school. But it goes by. It's just like everything takes so long. And then when we're an adult, it's like, oh, 20 years have passed already. What happened in those 20 years? I don't remember, because I've been doing the same thing for the past 20 years. And it's like when you slow down and you take a moment to see everything as sacred, everything becomes sacred. And it's just so magical. You get to slow down. You get to appreciate the moments. Like my nephew was just born, and my baby sister's always already talking about how when he starts walking, I'm like, we did that with you when you were a baby. We couldn't wait till you were like 5-6 years old. But truly honor and cherish those moments, because it's going to pass so fast, and we're not even going to see it.
Beautiful. Now that's why I love, even if it's just burning some copal before we begin Ganja Yoga, because for me it's the scent that takes me back to Mexico and the moon dance, and it's just so beautiful to be able to bring that back home.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
You know, it's the integration. I love that everybody's using that word now. And integration, the buzzword, is the ceremony. So a lot of people, like, they think you get yourself ready and you attend the ceremony, and when it's over, you leave the ceremony, you go back to your normal life. But the preparation is actually the ceremony. So you go to the ceremony, and it prepares you for what comes next, which is your normal life. Your normal life is your ceremony. The day that you end any ceremony, like when you close the circle at Ganja Yoga, or the day that we're told we can come back down from the hill at a Sundance, or leave the area at a moon dance. That day, even like coming out of an inipi or something, that day is the day that ceremony starts. That's when ceremony starts.
So whenever we end Ganja Yoga, I'll say, so now your ceremony has just begun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my gosh. It's been so much fun having you here, Jesse.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
sharing some.
It was a joy and an honor.
Conversation.
Thank you, Jesse.
Yeah.
You can go to Aldana-Alba
Okay.
or find me on Bandcamp. But I have several projects. I have like 4 projects. So Ritual is under my own name, Jesus Aldana-Alba. And on aldana-alba.music.com you'll find a link to that, and you could download it. I made it available for free. If anybody wants it, they could have it and pray.
That's so generous. It's also on our Ganja Yoga blog, which you can find on www.ganjayoga.la. And feel free to connect with us if you want to come check out our next Ganja Yoga. We're having a Sunday fun day.
They're
This
back.
Sunday. They're back.
I have truly, genuinely missed them. I'm so happy they're back.
Well, and it's great because it's going to be from 10:30 to 1, and then we'll have a break. People can go get lunch. And then from 3:30 to 5:30, we're having Sing for the Earth Medicine Song Circle on our pergola in Highland Park, LA.
So this Sunday we'll be at.
Yeah.
And this last song circle was so incredible.
Oh my gosh.
We were able to take the songs and really understand, connect with the meaning of it. So if it was a gratitude song, just connecting to what it is that we're grateful for, and truly using these songs as our prayers. So, yeah.
The song is a prayer.
Yeah. And if you want to dive even deeper, I have my one-on-one self-love ceremonies. So it's like a ganja yoga experience, and we implement yoni steaming for the women, infrared sauna for the men, and then follow it with a glorious massage.
Glorious. Says she wants to have Jesus back.
Yes!
That's cool.
Well, this is kind of his studio also, so he'll be back. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for listening.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Viva las ganjeras! Bye! Bye!
Remember to live in, right?
Live in ceremony and continue to love and light it up.
Thank you for tuning in to our Ganja Yoga LA podcast. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any feedback, please submit it to us at ganjayoga.la@gmail.com. We would love to hear your opinion, any topic suggestions, and also whether or not you enjoyed the show. So thank you for your responses. We really appreciate it, and we are so excited to keep the conversation flowing with you. So let's love and light it up.